If you've ever watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and even if you haven't, you know about the iconic tropes and moments from the show. The theme song, legendary. The handshake, memorable. The exit strategy, hilarious. Today, I actually want to direct your attention to the second most iconic moment of the show, the Carlton Dance.
Always remember, you ain't first, you're last.
What is the Carlton Dance? It's harder than it looks, but here are the steps. Step right and swing arms counterclockwise at the same time. Then step left and swing arms clockwise at the same time. If you're doing it right, it looks a little something like this. The first time I ever saw the dance was when Carlton Dance did it. But Alfonso Ribeiro wasn't the first to do the dance. His words, not mine.
It's Courteney Cox on the Dancing in the Dark video with Bruce Springsteen, where he brings her up on stage and she does the white man dance.
He was heavily inspired by Courteney Cox's version of the dance in 1984's Dancing in the Dark video. There's enough justifiable evidence to prove that this dance had been around before Courteney Cox. And it's even more plausible to believe that the dance blew up way before Carlton did it. Wait, Carlton copied off Courteney Cox and Courteney Cox copied off of somebody else? Technically, there's nothing new under the sun, so it's okay if Courteney Cox didn't do it first. A version of the dance was featured in Eddie Murphy's Raw, which was released in 1987, a full 5 years before Carlton debuted his dance on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Season 2, Episode 13. Known as the White People Dance, Eddie is simply doing a dance that imitated the most rhythmically challenged white people's dance steps in the 80s.
Y'all got one dance y'all can do. Y'all can do this, like this.
I do think this joke has some influence on Carlton's version. Tatiana Ali, who played Ashley Banks, is in a comedy special, and it's not far-fetched that some of her castmates saw her portion and the stand-up special as a whole. If Carlton saw it, he would have gotten the blueprint on how to do the white guy dance and flipped it to the Carlton dance years later.
The inspiration for that dance was Eddie Murphy's white man dance, right? In his, I think it's the Raw video, right?
Whether he was influenced or not isn't the point. The point is that the dance steps were performed before Carlton and before Courteney Cox gave it a shot. Eddie and Carlton do the dance, and it's funny because they dance like a white man with no rhythm. Courteney Cox does the dance, and it's sad because she's a white girl with no rhythm. I'm not even entirely sure a white person invented the dance steps. I legit think this is how some people probably just danced in the early 80s. Snap your fingers, do your steps, you could do it all by yourself. This footage was documented the year before Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark video with Courteney Cox was released. Early iterations of the Courteney Cox dance are sprinkled throughout. The snapping and stomping dance moves were used by white people who couldn't dance, black people who couldn't dance, and sometimes white and black people who couldn't dance. Every early example of the Carlton dance I was able to find was traced back to 1984. Footloose, released in 1984. Teen Wolf, filmed in 1984. Pryor's Place, 84. This can't be a coincidence. Either everybody that year had the same idea on the dance floor, or the dance was popular at the time. As it turns out, the latter is true. In this direct-to-VHS home video, Dazzling Dancing, teenagers highlight some of the most popular dances of the early 80s. Along with breakdancing, the moonwalk, and the E.T., the dancers do a dance formerly known as the wave, but if you've never heard of it, you have. You just know it as the Carlton Dance.
1, 2, 3.
Carlton wasn't the first person to do the Carlton dance, but that's not unusual.
It's not unusual to see me cry all night.
If you ain't first, you're last. But sometimes if you're last, the memory of last lasts longer. If there's some other first and last you'd like to see, comment below and click the subscribe button to keep up with first and last.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.